Country coffee isn't really about coffee, and I know that probably sounds strange coming from someone trying to build a coffee brand, because the truth is, country coffee started with a completely different question. What if there was a place that made people slow down again?
I think the problem is life just feels so different. Modern life is just a different thing, isn't it? We've never been more connected with mobile phones, the internet, technology, but for some reason I almost feel we're less connected at the same time. You know, have you ever been out for a meal with friends or family, and yes, you're all connected because you're there together, but at the same time, people are just on their phones. They can't just keep it face down on the table and enjoy the atmosphere and the connection. And the thing is I don't think we've exactly lost community. I just think we've forgotten how it feels. So country coffee was never really the first idea. It was still a coffee shop, but I had an idea of a place called Gather and Grind, which I then got some feedback, and people kept telling me it came across like a strip club. And it was my own mother that said that. But Gather and Grind the idea behind it was to bring community together into one hub. The goal was to really support local communities that the coffee shop would be opening in. Have a big, huge community board, stuff like that. But something just didn't feel right. Something felt like it was missing. But ultimately, I wanted to bring people together into one location. The community side was there, but the soul wasn't. Then I realised something. Every single place I've ever loved has had a few things in common. Whether that's, national parks, coffee shops, theme parks. And that one thing that they all have in common is they make you feel something. And I realised I wasn't trying to create just a coffee shop. I'm trying to recreate that exact feeling that I talk about. I get a lot of questions from friends, loved ones, when I speak about this idea. And they always ask me, why coffee? It's a good question. A few years ago, I was with somebody at the time. I've never really been a morning person. I've always been really bad at waking up in the mornings, bit groggy, bit down. It takes me a long time to get to routine. And she introduced me to coffee, and at the start, I hated it. I really hated the taste of it. And then I started sweeter coffees, lattes, etc. And eventually I fell in love with the flavour profile. So eventually, as time goes on, coffee became part of my morning ritual. I've got a coffee with me right now, actually, funny enough, in this lovely country coffee branded cup. Look at that. And I think other than the flavour and the boost of energy that coffee brings to your mornings, I think I actually fell in love with sitting there, having a moment of reflection with this warm cup of coffee in my hand. And it somewhat brought me some peace every morning, whether I was on the bus to work at 5 in the morning, 2, 3, 4 in the morning. Unbelievably, there are times I start work. And the other thing I really like about coffee is, I think the older I get, the more common it is to now turn around to friends, family, to catch up and say, hey, why don't we go and grab a coffee? It's relatively cheap. You've got coffee shops all over the place, and it's it's a nice place to just go and sit, have a cup of coffee, and catch up with somebody and really connect. So when the idea for country coffee came around, one of the questions I also got was, well, why country coffee? Why country music as a whole? And again, it's a really good question. I just really love country music. For me, my connection with country music, as far as I can remember, started when I was a young teenager growing up at Thorpe Park. And there was this area called Canada Creek. I used to sit on the Canada Creek Railway, queue for hours to go on Loggers Leap. And the whole area was kind of a Western old town vibe. You know, and they were playing songs from Dolly Parton, like Jolene, 9 to 5. And they just became really nostalgic songs for me. And eventually I branched out into more of the modern country music tunes. The other thing I love about country music is it's got such a variety of storytelling. You know, stories of love, stories built in faith. It has a lot of raw emotion in the songs. And then obviously you have the standard, you know, you have to mention a truck, you have to mention whiskey, you have to mention honky tonks, you have to mention bars, dive bars, you know, stuff like that. But ultimately, I don't know what it is, but country music just makes me feel something that no other genre really makes me feel. And that's why country music is a big part of the brand. So what is the overall dream of mine for country coffee? Well, to start with, I want to start with doing events, you know, slowly build the business and build the brand. That's why I'm doing this YouTube channel right now. But the overall dream is to start opening up physical flagship locations. Where they will be, obviously we are well too early in this story right now to be thinking about that, but you know, the dream of what that physical location looks like. There'll be country music, old and new varieties playing, ambient sounds inside of the establishment. And that's too corporate, what we're talking about. Inside of the store, of course, coffee is the vehicle, but the atmosphere is the destination. We'll have good coffee served with southern hospitality. Internally, it's really important for me to bring the outdoors inside of the space. You know, I want a lot of greenery in there, a lot of natural woods, stone. You know, I really want to bring that atmosphere inside. And of course, we'll have lots of freshly baked goods every single morning for you to enjoy alongside of your coffees. Whether that's banana breads, cornbread muffins with honey drizzle, and of course, what is going to be a staple, the cowboy cookie. But ultimately, coming back to that first idea of gather and grind, I really want this to be a hub and a great atmosphere for people to want to come and sit down, have a coffee, have a baked good, and just genuinely enjoy the atmosphere with their friends, family, loved ones, maybe even on a first date. I really want people to feel like once they enter inside Country Coffee, they've left the town that they've just come to outside. Like it feels like you're in a completely different world, and that world is the world of country coffee.
It's feeling like a cold dark wind and the sun still behind the trees. Yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I didn't have the heart to leave.
I think starting this business and starting this coffee brand is, to be honest, it's quite a personal journey for me. You know, I've had years and years where I've gone through ups and downs, and I felt lost at times. And ultimately, I haven't found that purpose in life. And I think, and that's why I want to bring the nature inside, because, for example, where I am right now, I can't explain it, but these years when I've really needed to step outside of that dark room and get out there and drag yourself out of bed when you're not feeling right, nature is just the one thing that seems to ground me, seems to make me feel at peace. And I really want to bring that into Country Coffee for others to experience as well. Obviously there's nothing better than being in nature itself, but this is a really local spot to me. I come here every once in a while. It's not quite Monk's Walk, but my gosh, is it beautiful. There's big red woods, red pine trees. It's beautiful. I think another thing coming back to country music is, I don't know what it is, but for me personally, and I think this is true for everybody again, but music just has a way of connecting with people. And again, as I said, I have a personal connection to country music, and country music in the United Kingdom, for example, is growing year on year. And I think the two things, nature, country music, coffee, I think it all just comes hand in hand, and it's something that I'm really passionate about. And ultimately community. I think if I just see a handful of people enter Country Coffee and walk out with a smile on their face, feel that little bit better than when they stepped in to the world of Country Coffee themselves, that would be a big moment for me. And I've been thinking to myself, why am I so hell-bent on this idea? And why Country Coffee? And I've been reflecting a little bit, and I keep thinking to myself, maybe I am Country Coffee, because this brand that I'm building literally has every single aspect of my life that I love and enjoy and hold dearly to me, whether it's immersive environments, country music, coffee, nature. It's all Country Coffee. So am I just Country Coffee? You might be asking yourself, what's next? And what's next is a really exciting phase, but it's going to take a lot of work. And what's next is building out the business formally, which will be in a future episode, but that's the boring stuff. But I'm going to physically build with my bare hands, and I have no experience with woodwork or building anything from start, to be honest. But I'm going to build a coffee cart, custom coffee cart that can be fully collapsible for going to and from events. It's going to be highly themed again to the brand of Country Coffee. We're going to really work on the marketing. But with that coffee cart, we're then going to go to events up and down the country eventually. But year one, we're really going to start doing small events, getting the brand out there, building the social media following, and building a core community. And ultimately, even before all of that happens, my goal is not to make money in year one, to be honest, and I'd be a fool to think so. Really, I just want people to feel what I feel when it comes to Country Coffee. I want people to connect with the brand. But ultimately, I sit here today and I'm very aware there's going to be tough times setting up a business. No business is easy to start. I can't tell you how willing I am to make mistakes and thrive off of them and learn from them and have that continuous improvement mindset that is so important in aviation, for example, where I work now, and in the amusement industry where I worked before. And there's going to be lessons to learn. There's going to be lessons to learn throughout the entire thing, let alone just year 1 and 2. on that note, I think it's also equally important to celebrate your wins. You know, celebrate the things that people do really enjoy about the brand and do enjoy about the taste of your coffee, the taste of your baked goods, the feel of the brand, the uniqueness, the atmosphere it creates, and the emotions that it evokes from people. And I can't wait to celebrate those too with you. Obviously, I have an idea of where I want things to go in the future. Big, grand ideas, right? But ultimately, I honestly have no idea where this journey ends. But I'm excited to see where it does.
If one person leaves feeling refreshed, connected and welcomed, then it'll all have been worth it. I'll see you all in episode 3.
She asked me if I had another minute.